Hey, y'all, I'm over here dancing. Hi, how are you doing? How's it going? You guys hear my music over here? I'm jamming. All right, let's get started. So, first of all, I would love if you haven't already, please introduce yourself in the chat. We've got this funny kind of setup where you can see me, but I can't see you. So this is going to be really interactive. I want to chat with you in the chat. I want to talk to you. So Kendall is in Louisiana and is a retail manager. Tell me those three things: your name, city, and profession. By the way, if you are a full-time mom, tell me that. Full-time parent, say that. If you are in between jobs, you can say that. Those are all totally valid. Let me know your name, city, and profession. Hey, Don, what's up? Pedro is in California as a teacher. Very cool. Introduce yourself into the chat. Ooh, lots of teachers here. Tammy is in Georgia and is a teacher. I see you. All right. Kmar, my senior namer, is in Barbados and is electrical engineer. Very cool. Any Detroiters in the house? I'm not from Detroit, but I actually started my company when I was living in Detroit. I love it. Okay, good. All right, so introduce yourself into the chat, because what we're going to do today is we're going to create a community. Everybody in the chat together is going to create a community. And let me tell you what we're going to create a community around. We're going to create community around doing things and coming up with your plan for doing something that scares you. Because we all know that the way that life works, the way that you hitting milestones and making accomplishments and really getting further in your life, in your own growth, is by going to something scary, something that scares you, and doing it anyway. Coming up with a plan for something that scares you, but coming up with that plan anyway. Right? We talked last week. If you didn't get a chance to see the workshop last week with me, Terry, and Abu, we talked about doing it scared. And that's literally what entrepreneurship looks like. The way that you get to freedom, financial freedom, time freedom, freedom for yourself, the way you get there is by doing something that kind of scares you. The win is always on the other side of the thing that scares you. Okay? So it can be anything, but I really want us to create community and a support system today, because what we're going to talk about is a particular way to create some freedom and abundance for yourself. And I'm going to share my slides, because what I specifically want to talk to y'all about today is the fact that the whole world, particularly in the last year, 2020 happened. Y'all all know what happened in 2020. And what happened in 2020 was more than ever, the whole world went digital. The whole world went digital. Anything we were doing in person, all of a sudden it was on the computer. And the reason I want to talk to you about that is because what happened last year, and really this year too, what happened is a whole new opportunity opened up, because we're now on our phones even more. We're now on our computers even more. We're doing everything through those devices. Now, why is that important when we're talking about apps? Well, what is an app? I don't know if you guys know this. Anyone know the definition of an app? Anyone know? Because we're talking about app businesses today. The definition of an app is something that you can log into. So typically we think about an app as something in the app store, and that is an app. But an app is anything that has a login and a password, right? So if you go to facebook.com on your computer, that's an app. Anything on your computer, on any device where you can log into it, that's an app. So think about how many things you have logins for. Sometimes I can't even remember my passwords for everything. We have logins for everything. And whenever you have a login, that means that you are using an app, an application. If you can log into it, it's an app. And so if you think about all of the places where we're using applications in our life, there's a huge opportunity for you to create a business around it. You can't get through a couple hours of your day without logging into an app. We're using them all day. And so it's a huge opportunity for us as entrepreneurs to create something around. Now, some of you guys, I want to talk to you about why you came to this workshop, because some of you guys, type 1 into the chat if this is true for you. You want to create some additional streams of income, some additional hustles for yourself so that You're not affected by layoffs. You're not affected by the pandemic changing your job situation or government shutdowns or the economy. Put a 1 if part of your plan is to create backup multiple streams of income for yourself. So you're not completely right. Okay, you guys are going fast with the 1s. Okay, I see them coming in. This is an important part of your plan, right? Okay, now I want you to put a 2 in the chat for those of you who have an app idea already. You already have an app idea, but you've been stalling on the app idea for weeks, or maybe months or years. Put a 2 in the chat, or tell me if it's been weeks, months, or years that you've been thinking about an app idea. Let me know in the chat if any of you guys have been thinking about this for a while now. I see some folks said, I want to become my own boss. That's part of the plan. Yeah, let me know. It's been weeks, months, years. I see a lot of you guys have been stalling on an idea. It's been a minute, right? Years, months, right? Okay, so I want to help a lot of you guys out who put in 1 or 2, but I bet that there's some of you guys who don't have an app idea yet. So I want you to put a 3 in the chat. Put a 3 if you don't have an app idea yet, but you would like for me to help you come up with one. Put a 3 into the chat if you don't have an app idea. You're like, I don't really know. I just wanted to come to this workshop to like see what you were talking about and see maybe if you could help me come up with an idea. By the way, I'm going to help you come up with one. Put a 3 into the chat if you don't currently have an app idea. Okay, I see the 3s coming in. I'm going to help you. I'm going to give you a framework for coming up with an app idea today. And some of you guys already have an app idea. For those of you who put 2, maybe you already have an app idea, but you don't really know how it's going to make money. Like how the business plan is going to work out. So we're going to talk about that too. And some of you guys are already entrepreneurs, but you know there's more that you want to do. You're not as successful as you want to be. There's more, right? So I want you to know that if any of those things, any of those numbers apply to you, you are in the right place. We're going to talk about all of that today. Now, before I jump into it, and I hope that you have pen and paper to take notes. Y'all have pen and paper to take notes? If not, you need something to take notes. We're gonna get into this in a minute. I just want to introduce myself because some of you guys met me through Terry. Some of you guys met me through Abu. And so I want to introduce myself just in case we haven't met before. My name is Tara Reed, and I am a tech entrepreneur. Before becoming an entrepreneur, I used to lead marketing initiatives at Google, Foursquare, and Microsoft. So my background is in technology, but I was not ever the one coding and making the apps. I was working on the business side of the companies. And in 2014, I founded a really successful art startup. I founded a company that helped people find artwork for their homes. And I built an algorithm that matched you to art for your house, like paintings, photography. And so the process that I use and the process I'm going to teach you today of coming up with an app idea, of building the app idea without any tech people, just being able to do it yourself and charging people to use the app, that process that I'm going to teach you today, in my first year of entrepreneurship, made me $150,000 in revenue, an extra $150K, and it got me $300,000 worth of checks from investors who said, I really love what you're doing. I want to see you take it to the next level. Here's a check. All right. Let me know in the chat if an extra $150K in revenue and income would be meaningful for you this year, or $300,000 from an investor to really skyrocket your business and idea would be meaningful for you. That was a big first year for me. It was a big deal and it grew after that. So I really want to give you guys my blueprint of how I was able to jumpstart things in my first year and then onwards. And I've been super blessed to be featured in some awesome publications. Entrepreneur Magazine featured me in their Young Millionaires edition. Forbes has some really fun articles on how to succeed in Silicon Valley when you don't look like Mark Zuckerberg. And one of my favorite things to do is to help people who do not look like the stereotypical thing that you think of when you think about like tech entrepreneur. We all have like an image in our head of like the kind of person who looks like they would start a tech company or seems like they would start a tech company. I love helping people who are tech underdogs, right, actually enter the tech space because we deserve, you guys know that there's so much money and there's so much success happening in tech. We get to watch it and be part. We don't just get to watch it, we get to be part of it too, right? I want to make sure that I help people do that as part of my mission. I also have a really fun TED Talk on building apps without code. But when I first came up with, Jamie said, so I don't have to wear a black turtleneck. No, you do not. even though I do have a turtleneck on today. So, mine's colorful. I had a bunch of issues when I first started. Let me know in the chat if you have run into any of these issues too. But the first issue that I had was I did not have $20,000 in my bank account to hire someone to build my app for me. Anyone experienced this? Right? Like for me, and I don't know if you guys know this is how much it costs to hire someone to build an app for you. It's $20,000 and up. Anyone had like someone tell you, like you went to a company and they told you how much it would cost to build your app? It's really expensive. And so for me, I was like, sorry, not an option. Right? It's totally not an option. The other issue I was having was I didn't have 1 to 2 years to learn how to code. Like the thing about technology is that it moves so fast. And so I didn't have multiple years to stop what I was doing, leave my job, learn how to code, and then like come back and launch it. Like just things were going to move too fast. I needed to go. And I also couldn't find the right tech savvy business partner that I trusted enough to be like 50-50 in the business with me. I was just like, I don't really know you. I don't know if we're going to work together like that. And so I was getting frustrated because I knew that if I took too long, particularly when it comes to apps and technology, if you take too long, someone else is going to move on your idea first, not because they stole it or anything, but because this is how ideas work. Ideas come and they sit on your shoulder. And if you don't do anything with that idea, it will fly away and go find someone else to inspire. That's how ideas work. And so I knew that if I took too long to get going with my idea, like it just was going to be too late. And I was starting to feel frustrated, like I was a failure because it was taking me so doggone long to get going. Anyone experienced any of these things I'm talking about? Feeling like you're sort of taking a long time to get going with an idea or a business, or running into not having enough money to hire people to do it, or to find the right business partner, or to learn all the skills. Like these were the challenges I was having. Now, in the middle of all of this, I was working at Microsoft at the time. And in the middle of all of these roadblocks, Microsoft laid off 80,000 people and I lost my job. I was one of them. Anyone ever been laid off before or fired? Let me know in the chat. If you've been put a 3 in the chat, if you've ever been laid off or fired or had an experience like this. For me, I was stressed out. I was like, oh my gosh, how am I going to pay my bills? I ended up moving to Detroit with my best friend to just like get back on my feet. And I was feeling really embarrassed because I just like didn't even know how to tell my friends and family what was going on. Okay, I see lots of 3s. Like we've experienced it. In fact, most successful people have experienced something like that or will, right? And so I was like, all right, got to figure out my plan. And what I decided was I was not going to be stuck anymore. Right? Someone says a traumatic experience. Yeah, it was. But what I decided was I'm not going to be stuck. First of all, you're not going to get to tell me ever again if I have a job and I can have income. I'm going to take control of that. That's what I decided. And I also decided, you know what? I'm not going to get stuck from these obstacles. And so what I did was I taught myself the process I'm going to teach you today of building apps without code, of building apps without running into those roadblocks. I was like, you know what? I'm going to find a way to do this. And that's the kind of mindset I want you to take on as you're listening to this. And as we're talking about this, you're going to hit roadblocks. The way to get to that freedom mark, income freedom, time freedom, is to find your way around the roadblock. That's the game. That's the true game of entrepreneurship, right? So I want to break down for you what exactly I did, how I came up with app ideas, how I built them, how I made money from them. Let me know in the chat if you're ready to really get into this and for me to break down the details of exactly what I did. Let me know in the chat if you're ready and we can break this down. Teresa said, what you said. Yeah, like we're not here to get stuck. All of you guys are here because you're action takers and you're ready to go. Right? That's what the community is we're building around this chat. Okay, I see some yeses, some readies. Let's break it down. Specifically, we're going to talk about how to go from an idea, how to come up with an idea and take it straight to income in 60 days, how to come up with an app idea, how to build it without any tech people, and then how to charge people money to use your app that you come up with. That's what we're talking about. Specifically, here's an overview of what you're going to learn this evening. Secret number 1. How to come up with a strong app idea in 15 minutes. I'm going to show you my formula for coming up with good app ideas. Secret number 2, how to build an app yourself without any tech people. And secret number 3, how to charge $50 a month or more for your app idea. I'm going to break that all down for you. Ready? Let's go. Let's jump right into it. Secret number 1, how to come up with a strong app idea in 15 minutes. Okay, so first of all, to help you understand this, I need you to understand something important. And this is what's important. There is a difference between an app idea and an app business idea. Anybody and their mama can come up with an app idea. Most people think that these two things are the same thing. They are not the same thing, because the difference is that an app idea anybody can come up with, but an app business idea requires a strategy. Specifically, it requires you to ask yourself, what do I already know something about? What is my unfair advantage that I can leverage in this business, right? That I already know more than most people about. So to show you what I mean by this, I want to introduce you to my SMART idea formula. What is a SMART idea formula? The SMART idea formula is a series of questions that you can ask yourself to help you brainstorm an app idea that you are already, like right now in this moment, 100% qualified to build. You are already qualified. So to show you how the SMART idea formula works, I want to introduce you to Josh. Josh is one of the entrepreneurs I've had the pleasure of coaching. And when I sat down to first work with Josh, we went through his SMART idea formula. So all I did was ask him some questions. And my first question was, what do you do for work? And Josh was like, okay, this is easy. This is a trick question. I'm a music teacher. So the first question was, what do you do for work? Then I asked Josh a second question as part of the SMART idea formula. My second question was, tell me one thing that you spend a lot of time or effort on at work. What's something that's hard or time consuming? And he thought about it and he was like, okay, well, I teach music after school at different schools. And I have to travel back and forth between each of those schools. And sometimes I wish I could clone myself. Like there's just not enough time to be at a bunch of places. And so one thing that I take a lot of time and effort on is traveling back and forth between clients for schools that I teach at. And then I asked him the third and final question as part of the formula. And I said, okay, so let's say that you built an app that alleviates some of that stress. You built an app to alleviate some of that stress. What could happen once someone logs in? He was just brainstorming this, right? And he was like, okay, can you guys hear me? Let's see. Let me know in the chat if you can hear me. I see a couple people say I froze or cut off. Can you hear me? Let me know in the chat if you can hear me. Jamie says, what if your idea doesn't have to do with your work? That's just fine. You can. Okay. Maybe it just froze for a couple people. All right, we're good. I'm going to keep going. Thank you. So I asked Josh a third question. And I said, let's say you built an app to alleviate some of that stress, the fact that you have to go back and forth. What could happen when someone logs in? And so we just had a brainstorm session around something he already knew about. And he was like, okay, well, maybe the students could log in to the app and they could complete lessons. The same lessons I would teach them in person, they could complete them. And they could work in teams to compose songs, like drag and drop different components of the song. And the teachers could give grades. And I could sell this to schools, right? He was just brainstorming. But this is a true story. Josh built an app for schools to teach music classes. And he has 23 schools in the state of Virginia who have written him a check to say, oh, I love this idea. We would like to use this in our school. Here you go. Here's a check. Now, he's made $30,000 in revenue from that. He's also gotten $50,000 from investors who also thought it was a good idea and wanted to give him a check to help him take it to the next level. And he did all of that in 6 months, like came up with the idea, built the app, and got paying customers in 6 months. So Josh says this app is definitely a revenue generating endeavor. I did not know it would grow as quickly as it did. We got television and radio interviews in the process. It's been a blessing. Now, what did Josh do? What he did was he took something he already knew something about. For him, it was work, but it could be anything. something he already knew something about. And he asked himself, well, what are the challenges? What's hard or time consuming about this thing? And he created a whole empire around it, right? So now what I want to do is I want to try the SMART idea formula with you. Kay says he solved a problem. That's exactly right. So now I want to brainstorm the SMART idea formula with you. I want to give you this formula. So get ready to type into the chat. I'm going to ask you to participate with me. This will be an interactive class. Because my first question for you, now we're going to do this activity around what you do for work, but you can do it in different ways as well, is what do you do for work? Tell me in the chat, what do you do for work? Let me know. If you told me earlier, that's okay. You can repeat yourself. Let me know what you do for work. I'll give you a second to type it in. What do you do for work? This is an easy question. Sales, for example. Teacher. That's right. Yeah. Math teacher. 911 dispatcher. Right. Realtor. Dentist. Right. Mom. Yeah, absolutely. You can say if you're in between jobs, say that too. Lawyer, business consulting. I'm an art teacher. Yeah. An artist. I'm in compliance. I'm a personal trainer, HR professional. Right. Licensed clinical therapist, tax manager. Someone says nothing. I'm retired. I love that. Yes. In between jobs. Right. That's right. Okay, good. Perfect. That's the first question. That's an easy one. Let's move on to question number 2. Tell me one thing that you spend a lot of time or effort on at work. Type in the chat. Tell me one thing that you spend a lot of time or effort. It's hard. It's time consuming. It's kind of annoying. What's something you spend a lot of time or effort on at work? Let me know. And I see other things that you guys do for work. You publish books. You are a driver. You're a business finance coach, corporate trainer. Yeah. I spend a lot of time managing my daughters. Yeah. Managing my daughter's crazy hormones. That's, yeah, right. That's right. You spend a lot of time with that. Okay, what else do you spend a lot of time on? Investigation, Bible teaching, driving, writing. If you're retired, tell me like what you're doing in your retired time. Maybe you're like organizing the TV shows that you're watching, right? Gathering resources, doing lesson planning, counseling patients, being on the telephone, organizing who I'm going to talk to, documentation, hiring people. Yeah, we all have a part of what we do every day that's hard or time consuming. Small group activities, making processes, right? Yeah, answering questions about lab tests, cold calling people, emails. Oh my gosh, right. Okay, so let's move on to the third question. We're going to brainstorm here. Let's say you built an app to alleviate the stress of what you just told me about. That thing you just told me about that's hard or time consuming. Let's say you built an app that helped people with that thing. What could the app do? Could it help people be in a community and share best practices of how they're working through the issue? Could it give recommendations on what to do? Could it teach people things? Could it let people buy and sell things from each other? Could it organize things? Like what could it do? How could the app help people? It could help them. Someone says schedule their own repairs. It can help your clients manage their finances. Yeah, and help them organize their finances. Yeah, what could the app do to alleviate some of that stress? And to just get your ideas flowing, what I want to do is I want to show you the 7 common categories of things that apps do. Now, apps can do multiple things, but I just want to show you, and you can actually put the number into the chat of maybe if you think that your app could do one of these things. Apps often will recommend things. Maybe it could help them with recommendations. And maybe it could give people a directory, number 2, a directory of resources that they could look through. Maybe it could allow people to buy and sell things from each other. Maybe it could allow people to connect socially in a community. Maybe it could let people track something, or maybe book a service and then track that service. Maybe it could help people teach something. Anyone see a number on the screen where they think that they could solve that thing that's hard or time consuming about their job by having an app that does one of these things? Or maybe you have your own idea. Yeah, I could teach kids offline. Yeah, great. And coordinate scheduling for when to teach kids offline. And you can book when you're going to teach kids offline. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, put your number in for what your app could do, because these are very common things that apps can really help you with. Throw your number in. Right? And it could be other, but this is just a little bit of guiding framework. Right? So let me give you another example, because you don't have to do the SMART idea formula with what you do for work. You can also do it with a hobby. And when I worked with Carlos is another entrepreneur I've had the pleasure of coaching. Carlos and I worked through his SMART idea formula specifically with his hobby. So I did a similar line of questioning, but the first thing I asked him was, what do you do in your free time? And he said, I like to play basketball. Let me know in the chat what you like to do with your free time. And then I asked him another question. I said, what is one thing that's hard or time consuming about your hobby of playing basketball? And he was like, okay, well, sometimes I got to figure out which courts are available when I want to play, right? Like I got to figure out where to go. Sometimes there's too many people. Sometimes there's not enough people for a good game, right? And then I asked him the third question. Let's say you built an app to alleviate some of that stress. What could happen when someone logs in? And he was just brainstorming. He was like, well, maybe that gyms could use it and they could let their members log in and they could see which courts are available and they could book the court in advance, and I could sell this app to the gyms and put the gyms branding on the app. Right? And this is a true story. Carlos built an app for gyms to let people book basketball courts, and guess who his first customer was? His first customer was the YMCA, who said, perfect, we need this. We're going to use this in one location to start. For that one location, they started paying him $300 a month just per location. And he did all of that in 4 weeks. Like came up with the idea, built the app, and got the YMCA as a customer in 4 weeks. Right? So that's how the SMART idea formula works. And the whole point of the SMART idea formula is to think, what do I already know something about? It could be what you do for work. It could be what you do for your hobby, but that's the point. To take something that you already know something about because you already have an unfair advantage. It becomes easy for you to create a plan around creating financial freedom, right? And you might be thinking like, Tara, this sounds cool. I love the idea of building an app, but I don't know if I'm qualified enough to build an app. I've never done this before. But the thing is, if you use the SMART idea formula, you're already qualified, because you're building upon something that maybe you're not the world's biggest expert, but you know more than some other person in this chat, in this community, right? And that is secret number one. It's a framework, 3 questions to ask yourself to come up with a strong app idea in 15 minutes. Does that help? Or does that give you some like creative ideas flowing? Let me know in the chat if you've got some creative, type flow into the chat if you've got some creative ideas flowing. Let's see whose creative ideas are flowing around. You may have multiple app ideas at this point, and that's okay. That's okay. Type flow if you've got some creative ideas flowing. Cheryl says flow. All right, we're flowing. I see y'all. Yes, perfect. And really the goal in life, for me, my goal in life is to find ways to be in flow. And what I mean by in flow is where things come easy. So the whole purpose of the SMART idea formula is to get ideas flowing, but also to create an app idea that is centered around something that you already know about, that you can be in the flow with. Pamela says, I'm flowing, girl. I love it. All right, perfect. So we've got some creative ideas flowing. So now can we talk about how to build the app? Because now that you have some ideas swirling around in your head, even if they're not perfectly clear, we got to talk about how to make the app. So secret number 2 is how to build an app yourself without any tech people. So here's the thing. Most people think, and I just want to, before I jump in, I want to answer Jamie's question, which is, what happens if my idea is kind of similar to something else that's out there, right? What if it's not 1,000% unique, right? And I just want to point out to you that your idea does not have to be the most unique thing in the world, right? There's always more than one of something. There's Uber and there's Lyft. There's Airbnb and there's HomeAway. Imagine if Pepsi said we can't launch because Coca-Cola already exists. So all you need to do is put your own spin on your idea. You do it a slightly unique way, but it is okay. If there's other things out there that are sort of kind of similar, that's okay, right? When Airbnb launched, right, there were already people on Craigslist subletting their apartments. It was not a completely new idea. When Uber launched, people were already doing carpools. It was not a completely new idea, right? So let's talk about how to build the app, right? And this is secret number 2, because most people, when they come up with an idea, The first thing that they think they need to do is hire an expensive agency to build the first version of their app. Let me know in the chat if you thought that was your first step. That's what you need to do. Hire an agency to build your app. And there's nothing wrong with this, by the way. The only challenge is that on average, it's cost $2,000 and up, $20,000, I'm sorry, $20,000 and up to hire someone to build an app for you. So it's really expensive, right? Really expensive. Now, other people are like, okay, I know what I'm going to do. I'm not going to hire someone to build an app for me. I'm going to find a tech-savvy business partner to help me before I start. Put a 2 into the chat if your plan was to find someone tech-savvy to go into business with you, right? And again, there's absolutely nothing wrong with doing this. The only challenge is that it can easily go wrong. And what I mean by that is that finding the right business partner is like finding the right person for you that you're going to marry. In that if y'all are not on the same page, you could easily sink this ship, right? So you don't want to rush this. Now, other people are like, okay, I know what I'm going to do. I'm not going to hire an expensive agency. I'm not going to get a tech-savvy business partner. I'm going to teach myself the basics of how to code in order to get started. Put a 3 into the chat if you've been thinking about teaching yourself the basics of how to code. Are anyone thinking about this? Again, there's absolutely nothing wrong with taking this route. The only challenge is that it takes about a year for you to get to the level of proficiency that you need to build as complex of an app as you have in your head. And we don't have that kind of time. We need to get going. You guys know that technology moves quickly, right? And so because of all of these things, all of these challenges, most people, they do not move forward on their app idea. Most people get stuck exactly where you are because they're like, you know what? It's not possible. I'm not a tech person. I'm just going to put it on the back burner right now. And what happens is they never get to launching their app idea. But actually, you don't have to do any of those things that I just mentioned. You don't have to hire an expensive agency. You don't have to find a tech-savvy business partner. You don't have to learn to code. Actually, you can create apps by using code-free software. Code-free software. Let me tell you what I mean by code-free software. So code-free tools, what they do is they let you design apps by drag, drop, point, click. You guys ever made like a PowerPoint presentation or done something where you drag stuff onto the page? It's just like that. You drag what you want. And then you logically tell the app what to do in English. You give the app instructions in English. So you build the app by drag, drop, point, click. You put what you want onto the page. And then you logically tell the app what to do in English, okay? Now, a logic statement. Stacey said, I made a website like that. Exactly. Now, a logic statement, this is the part that's different from the website, so I want you to hear this. A logic statement is the thing that tells the app what to do. A logic statement is the thing that tells the app what to do. Let me give you an example of a logic statement that you already understand. This is not difficult. Okay. If I push the first domino, then the other dominoes will fall. If this, then that. Really simple, right? This is not confusing at all. Let me give you another example. If the user clicks the button, then log them in. If this, then that. Now tell me, would you feel able? Do you think that you're able? This sentence that's on the screen right now, do you have the ability to type that on your computer? If the user clicks the button, then log them in. Everybody here has the ability to write that sentence on our computer. And that's what you need to build your app, the ability to write this sentence, right? So my tip for you is to find logic-based software for your app. In other words, software that lets you tell your app what to do in English, in plain English, right? Stacey's like, look, let me show you. I can type it right now, right? Find logic-based software. Now, there are a ton of software you can use to do this. I'm going to show you right now a handful of my favorite software tools that I use for building apps where I get to tell the app a drag, drop, point, click, and then tell the app what to do in English. Okay? So one of my favorite tools to use, and by the way, I put the name of the tool in the bottom of the screen so you can see it. One of my favorite tools to use for this is called Glide. And what Glide does is it allows you to take a spreadsheet and instantly turn your spreadsheet into an app. So you drag, drop, point, click, and then you tell the app what to do. You can do all sorts of things. You can have charts and graphs and maps and GPS and lists of things and directories, and people can type things in and create profiles. You can do all sorts of things. And Glide allows you to take a spreadsheet and instantly turn your spreadsheet into an app. Now, another tool that I really like is called Mighty Networks. Mighty Networks. And what Mighty Networks does is allows you to create your own social network app. So everybody gets their own profile and people can follow each other and like each other. And there's a feed of everyone's posts and there's a directory and people can poll each other and you get your own social network app. So Mighty Networks allows you to create your own social network app. Share Tribe is another really cool tool. Share Tribe allows you to create your own marketplace app. Now, what do I mean by marketplace? A marketplace is where people can buy and sell things from each other. So think Airbnb, where one person can buy something, another person can sell something, and you have a marketplace, right? So or eBay, right? Share Tribe allows you to create your own marketplace app. Thinkific is another really cool tool. Thinkific allows you to create your own education app. So if you want to have the main thing that your app does, give people lessons and videos and tutorials and quizzes, Thinkific allows you to create your own app where the purpose of the app is to teach people something. Right? Cloud Match is another really cool tool that I love. Cloud Match allows you to create your own Tinder-style matching and recommendation app. So you can match people to people or people to places or people to things. So Cloud Match allows you to create your own Tinder-style recommendation app. And Stencil is another really cool tool. Stencil allows you to create your own video games even without writing code. And by the way, these platforms that I'm mentioning, you can have on your app on iPhone, Android, or on the web or Windows. Here's an example of a video game that was created by someone just like me and you who had absolutely no idea how to make apps or code or make video games. And they were able to create this without writing any code. So I just want to pause for a second and welcome you to the future, because what I know and what a lot of people in tech are now realizing and know is that your app idea, the app idea that you were just brainstorming, is totally possible to be built without having a fancy computer science degree or knowing a bunch about technology. You can totally use these tools, because what is now true and what we know is that by 2025, most software won't be made by coders. Instead, they will be created by people just like me and you with diverse backgrounds using logic. And when I say logic, I mean telling the app what to do in English, which we can all do. Right? Because now, in order to build apps, you don't need to be a software developer or use HTML or JavaScript or any of those fancy coding languages. In fact, you don't even need to write a single line of code. So again, I just want to welcome you to the future. We are here. We're in it. We got in our rocket ship. We're in the future where your app idea is totally possible to be built yourself. Drag, drop, point, click, and then tell the app what to do. And you might be thinking like, whoa, Tara, like mind blown. I didn't even know this was possible. Anyone thinking that you're like, I didn't even know you could do this. But I don't know if I have time to build an app myself. And so I want to show you this really quickly. This is Charisse. Charisse is an entrepreneur I've had the pleasure of coaching. And Charisse is an author. And authors are not necessarily known for being like the world's fanciest app builders. But Charisse built an online social platform for sci-fi and comic fans, right? Something she knew something about. And she was helped her build her app. She was a finalist on the TV show Planet of the Apps. It had Gary Vaynerchuk, Jessica Alba, Gwyneth Paltrow, Will.i.am. It works kind of like Shark Tank. And so Charisse says, when I first started, I got a professional developer and I spent 9 months and almost $9,000 trying to do it the traditional way and got practically nothing. But after using Tara's apps without code system, within 2 hours, I had built the first model of my app myself. So big difference, struggling 9 months, $9,000 to 2 hours building the first model of her app herself, right? And you can build all kinds of things. You can build like a Yelp style app with a directory. You could build a Fitbit style app for tracking things. You could build a Tinder style app for recommendations and matching. You could build an Airbnb style app where people can buy and sell things. You could build an Uber style app for tracking progress and booking things and services. You could build a Masterclass style app where everybody sees different classes, right? So reality check, it doesn't take a lot of time if you use a proven system. And if you're on top of some of the newer trends when it comes to app building, right? If you're out there just trying to figure it out on your own, yeah, maybe it'll take some time. But if you use a system, not really. And so that is secret number 2, how to build an app yourself without any tech people. Andrea says, I've got endless ideas at this point. Ed says it's a real eye-opener. Good. I wanted to share with you some of my favorite tools. And someone asked a couple questions. I want to address a few questions. Someone says, can you combine some of these tools? Yes, you can. I can also show you how you can use like one of the tools to do multiple things. Ernest says, how many if this, then that statements can be included? You can have an unlimited number of logic in there, if this, then that statement. So you don't have a limit there. There was also a question about these tools that I just showed you and how much they cost. They all have a free plan. So you can build your app on the free plan, but then you're going to want to move over to the paid plan once you're ready to launch it, just so it looks more professional and you don't have their logo on it. Okay, I have one more secret for y'all. Can we keep going? Y'all cool if we keep going? Because now that we have a bunch of app ideas flowing, and now that I've shown you some of my favorite tools you can use to create the app yourself, drag, drop, point, click, the next thing I want to talk to you about is how to make money with your app idea, right? We got to talk about the business plan now. All right, someone says, please do. Let's do this. Because secret number 3 is how to charge $50 a month or more for your app idea. So here's the thing, and you can tell me in the chat if you were thinking this, because most people assume that their app idea needs to be free or 99 cents, maybe $2.99, $5, $10, something like that. Let me know in the chat if you were thinking that your app was going to need to be free or maybe 99 cents, $10, something like that. Let me know if you were thinking that. Here's the thing. Please do not do that. Do not do that. If you do that, you make your app 99 cents, you will be straight up broke for the first few years of you launching your app. You are welcome to get out your calculator on your phone and do the math. You take what your monthly bill is and divide it by 99 cents. You need a whole lot of 99 cents to pay your bills. And so please do not do that to yourself where you're hustling and scraping 99 cents at a time. So reality check, your app should not be free or 99 cents or even $5. Okay. And here's specifically why. I want to show you the specific problem with charging 99 cents. Because let's say that you wanted to make $60,000 with your app idea, $60,000 a year. Well, if you did that and you charge 99 cents, you would need 60,606 new customers every single year just to pay your bills. Now, what's the problem with that? What's the problem with needing 60,000 customers? Well, the problem is that means you need to bust your butt on marketing just to pay yourself, not to pay yourself and an assistant to eventually help you, not to pay yourself plus all of your other costs. Nope, just to pay yourself. You would need to bust your butt on marketing to get 60,000 people to sign up. But what if you charged $50 a month for your app idea? What if you charge $50? Well, if you did that, if you do the math, you would only need 166 customers to make an extra 100K this year. 166 customers. Big difference. So here's my question for you. I want you to tell me in the chat, would you rather have a business where you need 60,000 customers just to make it work, or where you need 166 customers just to make it work? Tell me in the chat which one is your preference, 60,000 or 166? Andrew says, wow, freedom is close. I didn't do this math before, but I'm seeing it. Yeah, let me know what you prefer. Right. I take 166. I'm not saying you can't have more customers than that. Of course you can, right? But just the basics, right? Easy decision. So my job today, with the remainder of our time, is to show you how to price your app idea so that you get paid what you're worth. Because here's the reality. Even you sitting here in this class right now, learning information, your time in this class is worth more than 99 cents. Right. So I want to make sure that you get paid what you're worth. So what I want to explore is how you can charge at least $49 a month or $600 a year if you did it annually. If you didn't, people didn't charge monthly, but you did annually, it'd be $600 a year. How you can charge that. Now, someone in the chat said, who the heck would pay $50 a month for an app? So that's what we're going to get into and talk about now. Right now, there are a bunch of ways that I can teach you for charging higher price points for your app. I'm just going to show you one today, right? Just one. And the one technique that I'm going to show you is called white labeling. Anyone heard of white labeling before? Let me know in the chat if you've heard of white labeling before. Anita says, are these apps available on your computer or on your phone? Yeah, you can make it either on the computer or on the phone. Right, anyone heard of white labeling before? So Cornelia says yes. Cami says yes. Some mixes of yeses and nos. Okay, let me explain what white labeling is just so that I can catch everybody up. So with white labeling, the first thing that you need to do is you need to ask yourself, what kinds of companies or organizations would want to have their own version of my app? What kinds of companies or organizations would want to have their own version of my app? And you think about it, and when you white label, what you do is you design your app and you take your logo off the app and you put the client, the kind of company who would want to have their own version, you put their logo onto the app. And what you do is you say, you know what, I put your logo on. You can take credit for it if you want to, as long as you write me that big old check, right? As long as you write me the check, I'll take my logo off. I'll build the app, take my logo off, put your logo on, and you charge them to take credit for it. Now, the thing with white labeling is that you can do this with an unlimited number of customers. You can have 50, 100, 1,000 customers that you white label for, right? And so remember I told you about Josh's music app? He built that app to teach music classes, right? At first, Josh assumed that what he should do is charge parents for the app. That was his first plan. He was going to charge $5 a month. But then he asked himself, what kinds of companies or organizations would want to have their own version of this app? And he thought about it and he was like, well, the schools would. The schools would like to have their own version of this app. So he decided to charge the schools instead. So instead of charging $5 per person, he charged $5,000 and up, depending on how many students the school has. That's a big difference from $5 at a time in your bank account to $5,000 at a time in your bank account, right? Because when you white label, your pricing starts at $3,000 a year. What I mean by that is you should not charge less than $3,000 a year when you white label. Now, why in the world would anyone pay $3,000 a year for an app? Why would they do that? Well, let's think about what their alternative is. The alternative is that they go hire an agency to build the app for them, and that's going to be $20,000 and up. So your $3,000 a year is a steal. If you want, you can split it up monthly to $250 a month, right? But when you white label, you should not charge less than $3,000 a year or $250 a month. So I want to walk you through some examples. Is this making sense? I just want to make sure this is making sense. I want to walk you through a couple examples of how you can white label, right? So let's say you have an idea for an app that helps homeless folks, right? You probably can't charge homeless folks very much money for that app. Like they don't have it, right? And so the first thing you want to do is you want to ask yourself, what kinds of companies or organizations would want to have their own version of my app that helps homeless folks? Anyone have any ideas? Let me know in the chat. Who would want to have their own version? What kind of company or organization would want to have their own version of an app that helps homeless folks? Anyone have an idea? What about nonprofits? Because many nonprofits have complete budgets set aside for helping folks, specifically with this. They have millions of dollars set aside for doing this. And so what you do is you go to them, you take your logo off the app, you put their logo on, right? They get to take credit for it and say, look at our cool app. And you say, no problem. You can take credit if you want, as long as you write me that check. And you can do it for an unlimited number of shelters, an unlimited number of nonprofits. Or what about, let's say you have an idea for an app that helps you do vision boarding and plan your future. What kinds of companies or organizations would want their own version of a vision boarding app? Can you think of any? Because yes, you could charge individual people for the vision boarding app, but you could probably only charge $5, $10, something like that, 99 cents. So who would want their own version of a vision boarding app? Any ideas? What about life coaches? Because life coaches, it's their whole job to help people plan. Cornelia says high schools and education guidance counselors. Yeah, it's their whole job to help people plan their next steps and their goals, right? So you take your app, you put the logo off, put their logo on, and you charge them money, right? Someone says Tony Robbins. Yeah, motivational speakers, right? Or what if you had your own idea for a gardening app, right? It helps people plan, like, what are they going to, when should they water their plant, and what kind of plant should they get in their climate? What kinds of companies or organizations would want their own version of a gardening app? Any ideas? What about like gardening stores, like nurseries, right? Where their whole job is to get you coming back to buy more. And landscapers, Cammie says, yeah, right. You take your logo off, put their logo on. They get to take credit for the app. And you can do it for an unlimited number of customers like that. Home Depot kind of customers. Yeah. So here's my question for you. Here's my question for you. And I want to go back to your app idea. I want you to type into the chat. I want you to tell me what kinds of companies or organizations would want to have their own version of your app idea. Let me know in the chat what kinds of companies or organizations might be interested in your app idea. Any thoughts? I'll give you a second to put that into the chat. What kinds of companies or organizations would want to have their own version of your app idea? Yeah, Raymond says universities. Yeah, who else would want to have their own version? Schools, cooking networks, life coaches, cities, travel agencies, banks, nonprofits, insurance companies, realtors, investors, veterinarians. Yeah, hiking boot stores. Yeah, hospitals, maintenance companies, churches, schools or nonprofits, doctors. Yeah, companies like athletic companies like Nikes or Adidas. Yeah, military. Yeah, right. That's right. Cartoon Network, gyms, therapists, doctors. Right. Nanny agencies, communities. Yeah, hotels. Now, remember that when you white label, your pricing starts at $3,000 and goes up from there, $3,000 and up, because the alternative is that they go spend $20,000 to hire someone to build their app. That's why this is great pricing for them, right? So one way that you can charge premium price points with your app idea and instantly have a whole empire going is by white labeling. Now, there are many other ways that I want to teach you. We just have time for one. But I want to spark some ideas for you on what's possible. And that is secret number 3, how to charge $50 a month or more for your app idea. Make sense? So I just want to ask you a question. Let me check in really quickly. Is this helpful? Are you guys learning stuff? Let me know in the chat if this is helpful and you're learning some stuff. Let me know in the chat. Yeah, good. There was a question, how do you protect your idea? It's a really good question. You actually cannot legally protect an app idea until you have built it. You can't just protect the idea. You have to have the app. When you go to submit your paperwork, they're going to be like, where's the app? So we got to get something created so that you can legally protect the app idea. Okay, good. I see this is helpful. My brain's racing with ideas. Absolutely. Cha-ching. Someone says, I don't know if my idea is good enough. We're going to talk about this. This is helpful. Okay, good. I'm so glad this is helpful. Beverly said I had no clue about all this stuff. Yes, I'm ready to get paid. Okay, good. I'm glad this is helpful. Here's a quick overview of what we've talked about thus far, because I want to make sure that I can answer your questions. And I also have something really special for you guys as a next step. So first thing, secret number 1, how to come up with a strong app idea in 15 minutes. That's what we talked about. I gave you my SMART idea formula, the 3 questions to ask yourself to come up with an app idea. Secret number 2, how to build an app yourself without hiring a bunch of tech people. There are tools you can use to drag, drop, point, click, right? And tell the app what to do. And also secret number 3, how to charge $50 a month or more with your app idea. We talked about white labeling, right? So let me know in the chat if your brain is racing now and you're like, okay, I need to figure out how to actually take what I just learned and implement it for myself. Like, I don't want this to be academic where I just took a bunch of notes and then never did anything on it. Like, I actually want to do the stuff that we've talked about and actually use it to create an actual business for myself, align another stream of income for myself, to do the hard part of something that's scary, but I'm going to do it anyway. Let me know if you're thinking about like actually taking this to the next level and implementing this. See some yeses, some wows. I see y'all. I do. Rob says, word. Cheryl says, yes, good. Okay, I want to talk to you about what to do next, what your next step is. Because right now you got a bunch of notes, but notes are not worth that much, right? They're not worth that much. So I want to talk to you about what to do next. Specifically, I put together a really cool program and it's called Apps Without Code Bootcamp. What the heck is Apps Without Code Bootcamp? Apps Without Code Bootcamp is an opportunity for us to work together on your app idea for 2 months. So there's all sorts of things that we do in bootcamp, but you're going to get personalized coaching. You're going to get a community of other entrepreneurs manifesting their ideas, doing the scary thing to get going. I'm going to give you all the different tutorials of what to do next, all of your step-by-steps. So Apps Without Code Bootcamp is a way for you to get started as a next step from this class. So I want you to type in the chat. I want to know if Apps Without Code Bootcamp could help you launch your business in the next 60 days. Type I'm in into the chat if you'd be in for that. Type I'm in if you'd be in for that. If you could launch your app business in the next 60 days, you have an app business up and running and generating revenue. Type I'm in into the chat if you'd be in for that. Or what if you could have weekly access to your own startup coach? You show up on Zoom and you're like, okay, help me. Type I'm in into the chat if you'd be in for that. Like actually having help along the way. You log into Zoom, you ask your questions, you get what you need. Yeah. Or what if you could learn how to make your app a premium price point, $50 a month, so that you would only need 170 signups to make $100,000 this year? Type I'm in into the chat if you'd be in for that. Yeah. So Apps Without Code Bootcamp is all about helping you finally build the app idea that you have been stalling on, or that you know good and well that you would stall on if you didn't have support and accountability. Because many of us, we know that we're not going to do the thing. This is like how I am with working out with a trainer. I recently lost 90 pounds, y'all. And I was like, I know I'm not going to do it unless I have someone coaching me and being accountability for me. I know I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to show up at the gym. Just not. Unless I know I have accountability, right? So that's what bootcamp is about, helping you finally get going. And it's also about getting a high quality app without spending a ton of time or money or letting someone else execute on your idea because you took so long to do it, right? So let me walk you through the structure of the program just so that you understand how it works. And then I want to open up to questions that you have. So part 1 is the course. This is where I put everything I wish I knew when I was getting started. So step-by-step lessons, click here, do this. I also made a bunch of templates for you to use that you can start with. So part 1 is the course. This is what it looks like when you get inside. It literally tells you every single step that you need to take. With videos, you click, you step by step and do it along the way, right? And you can build all kinds of things like a Yelp style app or a Fitbit style app or a Tinder style app or an Airbnb style app. These are actually the templates that I've pre-made for you that you can use and edit and make your own. An Uber style app or a Masterclass style app, all sorts of things. So here's what we're going to be doing in the course. Week 1, we're going to focus on pricing your app. Like how much should you charge? Should you charge 99 cents? Should you charge $5? Should it be $50 a month? Should it be that white labeling thing? What are we going to charge? On week 2, we're going to work on finding your perfect customers. Where on the internet can we find people who would want to sign up for this immediately? On week 3, we're going to pre-sell your app. And what do I mean by that? I mean that there are going to be people who are on your wait list, Before you even finish building the app, we want people on the wait list. And some of those people on the wait list are going to say, you know what, I'll pay now so I can get in. I can be the first one to get in. I'll pay you now. So we're going to pre-sell your app first. Then on week 4, we're going to work on your website and your brand. And then we're going to spend weeks 5, 6, 7, 8 actually building your app. So part 1 is the course, the step-by-step. Part 2 is the community. Now, y'all see how everybody here in the chat is sort of like revving each other up and encouraging each other. It is so important to have community when you are doing something new. So you get this wolf pack of other entrepreneurs to support you. Now, let me ask you something. Does anyone here have people in their life, maybe friends, family, who they just don't really understand your entrepreneurial mindset? They think you're kind of crazy because you think like an entrepreneur. They're just like, why don't you just do the job thing? Like, I don't get it. Why are you trying to do all this? Like, I don't know about this. Right? Anyone have people around them who are like that? Stacy says yes with lots of S's. You know about this. Andrea says yes. Right? Yeah. Right. Like a lot of us have that. And so what you really need to balance that is your wolf pack, your group of other entrepreneurs who support you. Because the thing about entrepreneurship is the definition of doing entrepreneurship is doing something scary. That's literally the definition. It should be written as the definition, right, of entrepreneurship. And not everybody in your life is in the practice of doing things scared. They think that you should first get over the fear and then do it. But that's not the reality of how entrepreneurship works. You just have to do it scared, right? And you have to be around other people who know that and who are entrepreneurs and think like entrepreneurs. So part 2 is the community. And then part 3 is my favorite part, that you get your own startup coach. So you're going to be in a cohort, you're going to work with your startup coach, and you'll be able to directly ask questions. So be on Zoom. Hey, let me share my screen. I got stuck right here. You get your own startup coach to guide you through the process. So this is Ashley. Ashley went through Apps Without Code Bootcamp, and she built an app for schools to hire athletic trainers. Athletic training was something she knew about, and she used it to build a business around. Now, when I started working with her, she barely had an idea. She had like just come up with the idea. But since doing bootcamp, she has 50 customers. She's done $3,000 in revenue, but she did all of that in 60 days, like came up with the app idea, built the app, and got paying customers. And this is what her app looks like. So when you log in, this is for like basketball teams, soccer teams, they can go in and they can say, here's the game, here's the time, and her app matches them with an athletic trainer who can be there at the game, right? And so Ashley says, I know that I cannot function successfully without structure, even if that means it will cost money. So from killing it in the gym with CrossFit to doing Apps Without Code Bootcamp, I do much better when I have a set plan to follow and an accountability group to check in with, right? A set plan to follow and an accountability group to check in with. I know about that because I'm the same way. Let me show you one more example. This is Brittany. Brittany built an app for pharmaceutical companies to report their drug side effects to the FDA. So she's in healthcare, right? She worked in healthcare. She knew something about healthcare. Right now, before doing bootcamp, she had spent $30,000 trying to do it the traditional way, trying to hire people to build her app, but she still had no app and no customers. After doing bootcamp, she had a finished app. She had 2 large customers because she did the white labeling thing. So when she went to hospitals, she charged them $10,000 each for the hospital. Right. So part 1 is the course, the step-by-step tutorials. Part 2 is the community, this wolf pack of other entrepreneurs to support you. And part 3 is you get your own startup coach. Cool. So there's Apps Without Code Bootcamp. But oftentimes people are like, okay, Tara, I'm really excited. This is awesome. I didn't even think about all this. I'm so excited. I want to do this. I want to do bootcamp. But I don't have a ton of money to spend getting started on my business. Anyone thinking this where you're like, I don't really know, like I need some help. I need some help to get everything started because I don't have a ton of money to spend. So if this is you, I have a bonus for you, a little gift for you that's going to help make your life easier. So when you invest in bootcamp today, I remember I showed you all of those software tools you can use to build your app. I'm going to pay your bills for those platforms so you don't have to deal with it. So I'm going to pay for half of your app platform cost for a whole year. So when you invest in Bootcamp today, I'm going to give you half off of the app platform fee. So you're not like trying to figure out how to build it yourself. You're not like begging your friends. You're not doing any of that. So there's absolute code Bootcamp. Plus I'm going to pay for 50% of your app platform fees for a year. Okay. But then other people, and let me know in the chat if this is you. A lot of people are like, Tara, I want to do Bootcamp. I'm excited about this, but I'm kind of worried that my app idea might be complicated. Anyone thinking that their app idea might be complicated? Anyone thinking this? Like, oh my gosh, like this might be kind of fancy. I don't know what I'm going to do if it's really complicated. Anyone got a complicated app idea? If this is you, I have another bonus for you. Because when you invest in Bootcamp today, I'm also going to give you my advanced app guide. What is an advanced app guide? So the advanced app guide is the guide for doing all of the fancy stuff. If you want to integrate APIs or have sophisticated databases or do augmented reality or really fancy stuff with your app, pull data in from different places, the advanced app guide lets you do all of that. Right? To be clear, I got my first $300,000 investment from investors using things I did from the advanced app guide. Josh made his first $30,000 using the advanced app guide. So the advanced app guide is literally money for you to do, guiding for you to do all the fancy stuff. So there's Absolute Code Bootcamp. I'm going to pay for half of your app platform fees. Plus there's the advanced app guide for doing all the fancy stuff. Okay. Now, the last thing that I often hear from folks is they're like, Tara, I really want to do Bootcamp. I'm excited about this. The only problem is I'm not a salesperson or a marketer. So I don't know how to get customers. If I build the app, how am I going to get customers for it? What exactly do I do? So the last thing I want to do is when you invest in Bootcamp today, I'm going to give you my 7-day email list builder. What is that? What is that? So the 7-day emails builder gives you all of my templates for you to do your marketing, for you to do your email outreach. And all you do is you type in answers to questions and it writes all of your marketing messages and emails for you. And you can use those emails to get customers to sign up for your app. So then like you're not trying to do Facebook ads prematurely. You're not trying to like beg your marketing friends for help. You're not doing any of that. You have a specific clear guide for doing all your marketing. So there's Absolute Code Bootcamp. I'm going to pay for half of your app platform fees. There's the advanced app guide for doing all the fancy stuff and the 7-day email list builder for doing all of the marketing stuff. Cool. So I have a question. I have a question for you. I want you to type the answer into the chat. If Absolute Code Bootcamp helped you create an app business where you could charge $50 a month or more, so you would only need like 170 customers to make $100,000 this year, would it be worth it? Let me know in the chat. Or if Bootcamp helped you build a wait list of people who are waiting to use your app, and some of those people are like, I'll pay you now just to get to the front of the wait list, would it be worth it? Or if Bootcamp gave you weekly access to your own startup coach who you could directly ask your questions to and get guidance from, would it be worth it? Or if it could help you not waste $10,000, $20,000 on developers and marketers, would it be worth it? Yes, literally, someone said it would pay for itself. You literally would get to make a decision and be like, you know what? This job I've been at for a minute, I'm not coming back because I'm going to go run my business now. You would have that choice if you wanted to do that. You would have a whole business set up, right? So I know there were some people in the chat who were asking, hey, Tara, can you talk to me about price? How much does Bootcamp cost? Like, I need to understand this. Like, what's the price of this? I want to do it, right? So again, when you build an app, if you're going to hire someone to build an app for you, it's going to cost $20,000 and up. I'm super excited to have put together this program for you. And the cost for Bootcamp, your tuition is $1,900, or you can split it up into 6 payments of $380 a month, $1,900, or you can split that up. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to put a link into the chat for you to check out Bootcamp and get signed up. I just put it in there for you to check this out. And just to be clear, as you're looking at that link I just put into the chat for you, just to be clear, what's the promise of Bootcamp? The promise of Bootcamp is that you're going to build the first version of your app, of course, and you're going to learn a clear process for getting your first 100+ customers. That's what we're focused on in Bootcamp. Right? And you know how they say the early bird gets the worm? Y'all know that phrase? So I have a fast action bonus for you. And this bonus expires at midnight tonight. So when you get into boot camp before midnight, so right now or anytime between now and midnight, you know, I told you the price for boot camp is $1,900. But if you get in between now and midnight, I have a 10% discount when you pay in full. So it's a 10% discount. It goes from like $1,900 to $1,710. 10% discount. Now, that discount only applies when you pay in full. It unfortunately does not apply to the payment plan. The payment plan is a little bit more expensive because you're financing your education. That 10% discount goes on top of when you pay in full. So there's apps without code bootcamp. I'm going to pay for all of your app platform fees. You got the advanced app guide for doing all the fancy stuff, the 7-day email list builder for doing all the marketing stuff, plus a 10% discount on top of all of that when you pay in full this evening. Cool? By the way, I have a refund guarantee, and that is like if you do the work and you're not happy with the program after 7 days, like I'm super happy to give you your money back. I just ask that you give it 7 days of coming to class, checking it out, doing the work to see. Cool. Okay, so the code to get that discount, that code, that 10% discount is FAST10. If you go to this page that I gave you and you type in code FAST, put it in caps, I think, FAST10, and then you hit apply, it's going to give you this discount and all the bonuses. So I'll give you a second to do that and go get signed up. You put in FAST10 to get all of those bonuses. And now what I want to do, as you're getting signed up, I want to answer questions. They could be questions about boot camp, questions about the course, questions about your app idea. I would love to open up to questions. So Jen has a really good question. Jen, I want to tackle your question. How much does it cost to maintain the app? Really good question. Okay, so there's two parts to this question that I want to directly address. So the first thing is, if you build your app without code, if you build it with code, the traditional way, you have to sort of maintain the code, because the code could break and then you got to fix it. When you build it without code, there's not like a bunch of code you have to maintain. You drag, drop, point, click, and give the instructions. So the maintenance is way less. There's less to do. However, you do pay a small amount for the app platform fee, and that is your cost to maintain the app. Now, the platforms that I showed you, they all have a free plan. So we're going to build the app on the free plan. But after we build the app and we're ready to launch it, you're going to want to pay your app maintenance fee. And they range, depending on which tool you use, between $29 a month and $79 a month. Now, I have some extra perks and discounts for you that I've negotiated. So if you're in boot camp, you get a discount on that. But on your own, between $29 and $79 a month is the cost for maintaining your app. Great question. Okay. And then Iris has a similar question, which is like, okay, so outside of the cost for your program, how much money do you think is necessary to get started? Like, given all the perks that you are talking about, like, what do I need? So you need there's two additional things you might spend money on outside of the program. Both of these things are optional, but I recommend them. And both of these things, my goal in boot camp, when we do boot camp, my goal is that you get your first paying customer. This is why we pre-sell the app. The first paying customer pays for the startup costs. What they give you covers your startup costs. So there is a app platform fee we're going to pay. We're only going to pay that once we launch your app and are ready to go live. And then also, in addition to that, there's a marketing tool that I'm going to recommend you use. Those are the two things. They're both, one's $29 a month, the other one's $39 a month, but you can use the free plan for both of those if you choose. So those are the only additional costs that you should be thinking about and expecting. LaPria says, how long do I have access to the course? Great question. Okay, so the class is 8 weeks. However, you have lifetime access to all the lessons and tutorials. So you will always have access to that. When you sign up, you have lifetime access. Cool. Awesome. Cool. All right. I see, I'm going to keep answering questions, but I see a couple of you guys just jumped in. Gabrielle just jumped in, paid in full. Jada just jumped in, paid in full. Andrea just jumped in, paid in full. For those of you guys who just signed up, let me know why you decided to sign up in the chat. I would love to hear why you decided to join boot camp. Okay, other questions. LaPria says, do you, oh wait, no, that's not LaPria's question. I missed it. Oh, Stuart says, do you help with contracts with the end users? Yes. So I will help you with creating your contracts with your customers. I have a template that you can use for getting them signed up to white label. If you want to do white labeling, for example, to white label your app. Yes. Or to do other structures. Barbara says, who are the coaches? So I'm one of the core coaches. There's one other coach that you might encounter. Her name is Keisha. Have you ever heard of a company called Buffer? They're like a social media management company. Keisha comes from Buffer. She's like a startup pro. And so you'll either work with me and or Keisha for your app. There's two coaches. Cool. Tiffany says, what are the names of your apps? I have a bunch of apps that I own. My first app was called Collecto. I also run an app called Copycat. I also run an app called Way. There's a handful of apps that I run. Louise has a good question. How much time do we need to put in? Like, how many hours should we expect in order to do this? Right? So, good question. I expect that you will spend 7 to 10 hours a week on your app idea. Now, if you want to do that in the evening, a couple hours every evening, that's fine. I don't care when you do it. Or if you want to do it on a weekend, Saturday, you can do it then. But 7 to 10 hours total per week to work on your app. And that includes the time that you're in class. Okay, I see Elizabeth just got signed up and I can't see your name. Wistog? Am I saying your name right? That may just be your email. Just got signed up. Let me know in the chat why you decided to do boot camp. I would love to hear. Okay. Next questions. I want to make sure everybody gets their questions answers. Oh, Winton. Oh, no. Wiston. Got you. Let me know why you decided to sign up for boot camp. Okay. Anita says, I don't necessarily want to do a group process. Because I haven't met with clients yet, like what can we do? So there is an option. If you don't want to do I'm not sure what you mean by, well, let me first clarify what you mean, Anita. What do you mean by group process? Can you clarify what you mean by that? I just want to make sure I'm spot on answering your question. Michelle says, what if I don't have an idea yet? So we're actually going to spend the first week helping you get an app idea. So if that activity that we did earlier wasn't fully clear for you, we're going to work on that in the first week to help you get clear. And Kathy says, do you need a business license to start launching your apps? No, not at all. So most people who join bootcamp will not have a business established yet at all, right? So my goal for you is to get your first customer. And once we have our first customer, then we're going to set up your formal legal business. First, we got to get some customers in the door. We've got to focus on that. So Kathy, no, you don't need to have that to get started. Cool. Angelia, am I saying your name right? Angelia says, do you have something in place to make sure that the companies pay you as promised? Yes. So when you do, if you're going to have a company pay you for your app, maybe you're going to white label, the thing I recommend that you do is put it on auto pay. Right? So here's the thing, if you're going to white label, you are not selling your app. You are renting your app. So if you think about it like you're the landlord, right? So if someone comes and they rent your home, they pay every month for access. They're going to pay every month for access to your app or every year. If they want to pay it all up front for the year, that's fine. But they don't own the home. You still own it, right? Same thing with the app. They don't own the app. You still own it. And so they pay monthly. If they don't pay, after a while, you revoke access. But I recommend that you put it on auto pay. If it's like a monthly payment or an annual payment, you put it on auto pay so that you get your payments. Cool. Okay. And there was a question Jelena says about the timeline and the time deadlines. So the deadline to get your 10% discount is at midnight tonight. So you jump in now, between now and midnight is the deadline with a 10% discount. I see Stuart just got jumped in. And okay, you're going to have to help me with your name. Please correct me because it's important to me to say names right. Eden Gessie. Tell me if I said your name right. Help me because it's important to me to say people's names right. And Lorna, I see you just got signed up. Let me know in the chat why you decided to sign up. Give me the why. Okay. Claire says, what if I love this question. This is a good one. Everybody listen to this one. Claire has a good question. What if the platform that you build the app on goes out of business? Then what? That's a great question. Okay. So 2 things. Number 1, the platforms that I'm going to recommend you, I'm not going to recommend you like a newbie platform. Now, what's happening is that the big tech companies are realizing that no code is a really big thing now. So some of these companies actually are getting acquired and continuing to run by Google and Microsoft. Some of these are like by big companies. They're not going out of business anytime soon. Other ones have millions and millions and $1 million of funding. So it's unlikely. But all the platforms make a pledge that if they, for some reason, did go out of business, they would provide you with all of the like code and information for your app so that you could then move it somewhere else. So Claire, they give you that guarantee, and I'm happy to show that to you on the platforms. Another question that I didn't see that's sort of related to Claire's question that I want to make sure I address is, well, if I build my app on one of these platforms, does the platform own my app? Who owns my app? So I want to talk to you about that too. Here's how this works. It works like, imagine you're an author and you go to Microsoft Word and you write your book on Microsoft Word, right? Microsoft does not own your book. They absolutely do not own your book. You just use their tool to write the book. It works the same way. So they don't own your app. You just use their tool to build the app. So I just want to talk about the platforms and how they work. Those are great questions. Okay. All right. Let me see. Next question. Priya says, fabulous. And I also want to call out a couple other people. I see Tiffany just jumped in. Jamie just jumped in. Sandra just jumped in. Lorna Stewart, I see you guys. Let me know why you decided to sign up in bootcamp. And specifically, Jamie's paid in full. Sandra's paid in full. Sandra's paid in full. Elizabeth is paid in full. Eden guest seat is paid in full. Data's paid in full. Gabrielle's paid in full. Let me know why you guys decided to sign up. And then Jamie had a question. Do you help us figure out how to get in front of potential white label customers? Yes, I absolutely will. I have a really cool trick that I do with LinkedIn to find white label customers and other tricks that I do with other platforms. So I'm going to show you we're going to have a whole section on marketing where we're going to work. Okay. Stuart says, can I shift to you build? Oh, like if I want you to build the app for me, can I do that? So if you want me to build the app for you, that is an option. Let me show this to you. It is an option on this page. If you scroll down, there's an option where it says, want me to build the app for you? And that's an option. So you really have 2 options. Option number 1 is that I teach you how to build the app. Option number 2 is I build the app for you and I teach you how to make your own changes to the app. And if you want to do option number 2, you would just check this box, yes, build the app for me, and it'll add that amount up here for me to build the app for you. So that is an option. I can't guarantee that I will keep it at this price because as y'all know, like it normally costs $20,000 for someone to build the app for you. We happen to have a team and myself and my team where we can do it very efficiently, but I don't know that I'm going to keep it at this price. So that's the only thing about the availability of that. But if you want me to build the app for you, you can add that right here. Cool. What other questions? By the way, the discount code to get your discount is FAST10. Let me show this to you again. You go right here. Use the link that I put in the chat and you put FAST10. I think does that be capped? No, it works lowercase too. FAST10, and that's going to get you the discount and all the bonuses that we talked about. Okay, let me go back to questions. I want to tackle all y'all's questions and let's just have a conversation about your app ideas. So, Levi says, Levi, where's your question? How do I do the monthly plan? If you look on that page, it's on the side. You can do the monthly plan as well. Just know that the monthly plan is a little bit more expensive and you don't get the 10% discount. Jada says, I'm ready to go now with lots of W's. I have so many ideas, so I should hit the ground running. I love it. Lenore says, how long are the bootcamp sessions and how often do boot campers meet? Okay, great question. So your actual classes, your main class is 2 hours every week. 2 hours every week. And then you have homework in between. And then you come back to class for your 2-hour class. Does that make sense? Now, there's a couple different times you can choose for your class. So what happens is, as soon as you sign up here. And as soon as you get to the next page, the immediate next page is going to ask you what day of the week do you want your class to be. So you'll get to choose your day of the week that you prefer to have your class, right? That's up to you. But for the most part, the classes are either in the evening after work, like around this time during the week, or they're going to be on the weekend, because I know that we all have stuff going on and lives and other things happening. So they're on the evening or the weekend. It's a good question, though. Catherine has a similar related question, which is for those who signed up. And you guys, for those of you who signed up, you can answer the question. Do you have a full-time job? Like, are you going to do this with a full-time job? I can share, Catherine, I'm not sure for the people who just signed up, but I can share that the majority of people who do boot camp have a full-time job. They're working full-time, and they're what we call moonlighting. What is moonlighting? Moonlighting is a term that we use particularly in the tech industry, where it's like you work on your business at the evening after work in the moonlight, right? In the daylight, you work at your job, and in the evening, you're working on other streams of income so that you are not chained to that job, right? So yeah, most people are working a job. Cool. Dee says, what about versions? This is a great question, and I can tell you know what you're talking about from this question. So what a version means is, you know how any app that you have, you know how when they say like there's an update available, you know, an app on your phone, it tells you there's an update available. So with your update, that's a new version. They made an updated version of it. And so, yes, I'm going to show you how to make updated versions of your app. And that might be like, oh, I thought of something new. I want to add it. It's really easy. There's a publish button. You hit the publish button, everyone gets the update. So we're going to talk about that, maintenance and versions. There's not a lot of maintenance to do when you build it without code, but there are versions if you want to add things. Cool. Okay. Awesome. Arvia says, will the app also be your website? Ooh, this is a great question. Will the app also be your website? Okay. So your app, if you want, can be available on the computer. You can choose that. You can have it on your phone or on the computer. I do recommend that you actually have a separate website. But what's going to be on the website is, you know how you go to a website and in the corner there's a button that says login? You've seen that on a website before where it says login button. And when you click login, it asks you to log in. What's happening is the website is taking you to the web app. You don't know that that's what's happening, but the website takes you to the web app. So I do recommend that you have a website. You want to tell people what this thing is, what the business is. We're going to create a website in bootcamp, but then when they log in, they're going to go straight to the web app. They won't even know that they're going a different place. So yes, it can be available on the web, but I recommend that you send people back and forth between website and web app seamlessly. Okay, Carol just got paid in full. Let's see. LD just got paid in full. Steven, Clyde, Jamila, Derek, Jamie. Let me know why you guys just signed up into the chat. And then I'll see Lene is signed up. Let me know why you guys decided to sign up in the chat. Why are you doing this? Why? Carol, I see you just got in. Cammie, I see you just got in. I see y'all. I'm excited. We're going to crush this, y'all. Like, this is the thing. This is the thing about entrepreneurship. Like, they should put in the dictionary, the definition of entrepreneurship is doing something that's kind of scary. Like, I don't know if I can make this work, but I'm going to try. This is how people build wealth. We think, this is what people think. People think the way you build wealth is by saving. It does not work like that. The way that people build wealth, because you can only save so much, right? People give you this advice like, oh, what you need to do to build wealth is cut down on your Starbucks. No. Even if you did the math of how much you were going to save cutting down on Starbucks, it wouldn't be, we're not talking about passed down to your kids kind of wealth. That's not what we're talking about, right? Your Starbucks is not going to do that, right? Taking a risk, doing something scared anyway, creating a business, that's how wealth gets created, period. All right. Okay, good. And then by the way, you can tie in what you learn here. You can create a product and create an app. You can tie it in. You can run ads to your app. You can then go later learn from Abu and run ads to your app. You could then take your money and your profit. This is what I do. I take the profit from my app. So the app is running on its own and it's generating profit. And I take that and I can trade it using what I learned with Terry. Right? So there's all sorts of things that you can do here. Okay, next question. Kay says, are these one-on-one coaching sessions or are they group? Great question. They are both. So you have a group class every week with your class, your cohort. Now you spend most of your time in your cohort in a small group of like 10 to 15 people. There's a larger cohort, but you spend most of your time with your cohort of 10 to 15. But also there's one-on-one tutors as well. So you get both of those things. Great question. Okay. Now, Michael says, what if I am seriously interested in doing this? Like, I want to do this for sure, but I need a little bit more time to go get my money together. I'm not sure if I can swing it right now. So just to be clear, the deadline for the 10% discount is tonight at midnight. So if you need a little bit more time, you will miss out on the 10% discount. But the deadline to actually sign up, like if the closed doors fully, are on Sunday. Now, I do have a maximum capacity of folks that I can help. Right? I told you I have tutors in my program. We have classes in small groups. And so I will cut it off at some point. So there's a chance that if you take a while, I just may say like, sorry, I can't coach anyone else right now. But the 10% discount is only for this evening. Cool. Okay. Stacy says, when does boot camp begin? Great question. Okay. So as soon as you sign up on the other side of this page, so as soon as you put in your information and get to the next page, you get to choose your start date. Now I have a couple different choices for start dates. So what's going to happen is the very first thing you'll do is you pick your start date. The second thing you do is I'm going to give you a little bit of homework, something to start on, some lessons to start working on to help you get clear on your app idea and how you're going to make money. And what you're going to do is you're going to bring that homework to your first class, but you get to choose the date of your first class. All right, so I'm going to give you like a week or so to do your homework, and then we can immediately get started. You can choose the date that works for you. Cool. Brian says, can you show on the screen everything that's included in the program? Yeah, I can. And you also can see it here, just so that you see it. You see like what you'll get is right here. This is actually probably the easiest way to see that. And you can see that on the page where I just dropped the link for you. Nice. And by the way, the discount code is FAST10 to get in. FAST10. Okay, I see Stephanie just jumped in. Casey just jumped in. Barry just jumped in. Cool. Stephanie paid in full. Davis or Alexia paid in full. I see y'all. We are about to crush this. This is the thing. Here's the thing. Like when you look at the tech industry, you guys know how much money is in that space. Do you know how hot technology is as a space right now? There is so much wealth getting created. And this is, I don't know if you've heard this phrase. I actually heard a very wealthy white man tell me this. And I was like, taking notes. So I'm going to tell this to you. What he said was, you should look out for opportunities where there is either like a crisis that has recently happened or a recession. Guess what just happened in 2020, last year, and what we're in right now? He said, look for opportunities where there's a crisis or some sort of recession or going on. Why? Because the reason you should look for that is because that is the time period where new opportunities immediately arise. There is all this movement of new opportunities. And what he said was, what happens during that time period is you have a unprecedented opportunity. This is the way he said it. And this is like really stuck with me. He said, an unprecedented opportunity to go from economy to first class, or to go from first class to private jet. That's what happens during these time periods where everything gets changed up and shaken up. And guess what just happened in this most recent time period? We all moved to tech. Even people who were like already using a lot of technology, they use it even more. People who are slow to get on technology, y'all, my grandmother is on Zoom. right? So a huge opportunity happened and you have a window to really capitalize on that. That is what's happening in the world right now, right? There's a unique opportunity that you have right now. Trisha, I see you're paid in full. Alexia is paid in full. Bukeka, am I saying your name right? Is paid in full. Stephanie's paid in full. I see y'all. Let's do this. Yes. Cool. I love helping people who are like not the typical tech industry person where you may not think of like, oh, I'm wearing the like black turtleneck and like a particular stereotype of tech, jump into tech. Okay. Other questions. Let's see. Yesenia has a great question. Okay, what if we need mentorship or help after the 8 weeks? What do we do? And she has another question too, but I'm going to answer the first one first. Great question. So you have lifetime access to the program. So what I do is I have separate classes for alumni of the program, really to help you continue going, continue getting focused, make your next steps. So I have a separate sort of class that I do for alumni once you're done with your 8 weeks. But you have lifetime access to the program. So the core part of the program, you will have finished and you've completed your app. But you have lifetime access to continue because here's the thing. I don't expect that you're only going to have one app idea ever in your life. You probably are going to have multiple app ideas. And so what many people do is because they have lifetime access to the program, they build their app, they get their customers, that app is rolling, and they're like, oh, I came up with another idea. And they go right back into boot camp to do it again, but you don't have to pay anything extra to do that because you have lifetime access, right? Make sense? Yesenia had another question, which is, how do we protect the app idea after we launch it? Like, how do we legally protect our idea? This is great. I'm going to walk you through this in boot camp, but there's two parts to this. First of all, I didn't know this. I actually talked to my lawyers and they told me this, that you cannot, if you have an app idea, like all you have is the idea, you cannot legally protect it. Like if you go to submit your paperwork, they're going to be like, where's the app? Where's it at? You actually have to have an app made to legally protect your idea. So my goal is to get you quickly to the app built, even if it's just a simple version to start, so that you can do your paperwork to legally protect it. Now, my favorite trick is to use these certain kinds of programs to have lawyers do my paperwork for me to legally protect my ideas for free. Now, the key here is that you don't want to use just any old lawyer. You want to use a lawyer who specializes in startups. It's a whole different game, right? And with the lawyers who specialize in startups, what they do is they will give you free hours, a certain number of free hours. Now, why are they giving you free hours of work? Because they're hoping that when you hit it big as a startup, you'll continue to work with them. So they're not dumb. They're doing it on purpose, right? But I use those sorts of programs to get all of my paperwork to legally protect my idea tackled, right? Okay, other questions. Angela says, what time are the classes? I'm based in the UK. No problem. Actually, some of our coaches and tutors are also in the UK. The best time for you is going to be the class that's on Saturday, because it'll be sort of like afternoon or evening for you. So there's if you're outside of the US, there are class times that are right for you. So if you, as soon as you go to sign up, you're going to come right here. You're going to put your FAST10 coupon code in to get the bonuses and the discount. And the next page, you'll get to see the different dates and times that you can choose. Cool. Okay. Other questions. Okay. Clyde says, the reason I signed up for bootcamp just now is because I had something on my mind, but the problem I kept hitting was that I didn't have $20,000 to hire someone. So like that was an issue. So now I get to do it just with the tuition for bootcamp instead of like the $20,000 I kept coming up to when I would talk to people and they would tell me how much it would cost and be like, I can't, sorry. Yeah, that was why I did it. I totally get that. I see Don's paid in full. Rebby's paid in full. Rena just got signed up. Michael, Luis is paid in full. Cynthia's paid in full. I see y'all. Let's get this. I'm so excited for you guys to create these empires. Like, I'm not even going to say business. I mean empire. All right. Okay, Keonia says, Keonia, am I saying your name right? What if I miss a class? What happens? Okay, good question. So if you miss a class, no worries. You will just come back to the next class. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you all of your homework for class separately outside of class. So you still will know sort of everything that we covered. You'll still have access to that. Cool. It's okay if you miss a class. Yeah, if the dates that are shown there for some reason don't work for you, send me an email, and what I'll do is I'll just give you, I only put the next 2 dates up there. So if there are other dates, I'll tell you the next coming dates or the other dates that I don't have shown, and you can pick one that works for you. So just send me an email, Luis, if those dates don't work for you. I have some other start dates for you. Okay, Jamie has a question. If you want to white label, oh, okay, great question. Jamie says, if you want a white label, what stops the larger corporation from stealing the idea and not paying for it? Great question. Okay, first of all, in the contract we are going to write, you must include, I will not let you send this contract unless you include this. You must include that all intellectual property belongs to you. They are renting, they are not owning. So for example, if you owned a house, just because you have people renting it doesn't mean they own it. Right? They're renting it from you. And all intellectual property belongs to you. So you have to make sure you include that in your document. And we want to include the full scope. Like you can't just like change it a little bit, the full scope. But the reality, Jamie, is that the company is paying you because they don't want to use the resources to build it themselves. It would be a lot of work for them to do that. Usually it's actually harder for big companies to build stuff than it is for a smaller company or you to do it, right? Because they've got all kinds of bureaucracy and all kinds of stuff, right? All right, Linus just got signed up, paid in full. Keisha is in boot camp. I see you. I'll give you guys a second. Make sure you use the code FAST10 so you get your discount. Okay, other questions. I want to get to all of these. There was a question about the refund policy. I do have a refund policy. I ask that you come to at least the first week of class and do your homework, and then I'm happy to give you a refund. Okay, other questions. If you're looking for where to pay monthly, it's on, if you scroll down on the page, you can see the payment plan. And if you have a question, if you're already in boot camp and you have a question, the best thing to do is just to send me an email. The easiest way to send me an email is just go to the last email that I sent you and hit reply. Easy, hit reply. Oh, okay. Rena is saying, okay, this is a good question. This happens to people sometimes, Rena, that you have like you want to pay in full, but if you have like a limit on your card, and like you can't call the bank right now, what I recommend you do is you sign up for the payment plan now, because that's just $380. So if you sign up for the payment plan now, and then tomorrow you can pay the remainder amount. If you probably will need to email me so that I can help you manually I'll give you like a separate link to do the remainder amount, and they'll cancel the rest of the payment plan. That way you can secure your seat, Rena, but still get all the perks for paying in full by tomorrow. So that's one way that you could do that since you have the card limit. That's fine. That is fine. Okay. Jean says, I am really busy with some other classes that I'm doing. Can I sign up in 2 weeks? Because I'm really busy with that. So Jean, I think actually what would be good for you, if you sign up now, you can set your start date. There's a class that starts on June 27th. So you can set your start date in the future. So you can still have your 2 weeks to finish what you're working on and then start. So you can set your start date in June, end of June or July if you want to, and that would make it a little bit easier. Make sense? Joseph is paid in full. Shartari is paid in full. Elizabeth is paid in full. And I can't see your name yet. What it does, it shows me your email, and then when you create your account, it shows your name. So you're probably literally creating your account right now. I will give you a second. Oh, it's LePage. Is that LePage? Got it. Oh, Franklin. That was Franklin. Okay, Franklin, I see you. All right. All right. Camille says, I'm in. Yeah, for those of you who just signed up, let me know why you decided to sign up. And Victoria says, will enrollment continue after midnight? So yes, just to clarify, the deadline for the discount is midnight tonight. You still, if you need more time, like you can't sign up until Friday or Saturday or Sunday, that's okay. You can still sign up this weekend, but you won't get the 10% discount. Now, the deadline fully to sign up is on Sunday at midnight. So Sunday's the last day. So today, 10% discount. Between now and Sunday, you can still enroll, but you don't get the 10% discount. After Sunday, doors close because I got to focus on helping folks get these apps out the door. And that's fair because I've promised that to them and I got to focus on helping people. Make sense? Okay. Yeah, Stacy was saying, like, is there a cap on how many people you can help? Yeah, like when my classes sell out, because we do lots of like small groups and it's really interactive. So like when the class sells out, like it's gone if there are no more dates, right? I knew that y'all were coming. I knew we were going to do this class. So I set up some extra classes and some additional time on the calendar. But when those are filled, like I just can't help any more people. We're done. Yeah. Okay. Other questions. Teresa was saying, how can you take care of multiple people and help multiple people with their app idea within 8 weeks? Great question. So me and my partner are core coaches for your cohort. So if you think about, like, if you're in university, you have a class, right? That your graduating class. But inside of that, you have instructors inside of that, and you also have like classrooms inside of that. So it works that way, right? So I have specific tutors. I've got a whole team of people who help so that you can get help on your app idea, go to your tutoring session, all of that. Right. So it's not just me. You will work with me and or Keisha is the main coach that I work with. But you also will have tutors and other people to help you. Oh, Sherilyn has a great question. Okay. Can partners join together? Like, I want to do this with my nephew. Can we both do it? Yeah, that's a great question. Okay. The answer is yes. So if you guys are working on the same app idea, then yes, you can just sign up once and you guys can do the program together. You don't need to each sign up. If you're working on different ideas, you need to separately sign up for tuition. So it's separate. If you're working on separate ideas, it is separate. Carol says, is this self-paced? Okay, great question. So it's yes and no is the answer. So you have class every week, same place, same time. Let me tell you why that's important. Because we all need accountability. So you show up to class, right? It's a cohort that you show up to. However, your homework, you have homework in between, and that's self-paced. So I don't care when you do your homework, as long as you get some of your homework done before your next class. So that's how it works. And Jean says, my full-time job is overnight. How do I manage my schedule? There is a class available that's on the weekends on Sundays. So if you want to do that, you can just do the Sunday class. Cool. All right. Let's see. What other questions? LaShawn says, great info. Oh, awesome. Okay, good. Let's see. Julian says, will there be a recording for this webinar? Yes. Okay. So here's the thing. I need you to give me at least until tomorrow to get you the recording because it takes a minute to process. So let me send you the recording tomorrow. And you can review this material and go back and take notes and all that. So give me until tomorrow. I'll send that to everyone tomorrow. Cool. Tiffany, I see you. Tiffany T, I see you just signed up. Tanya, I see you're paid in full. I see you. Okay. Sherilyn says, so will we get the other perks after Monday? Okay. To be clear, after Monday, bootcamp enrollment is closed. So the deadline is this weekend. Sorry, the deadline for the discount is this evening. The deadline in general to sign up is on Sunday. After that, so if you're signing up on Monday, the door will be closed. Tuesday, the door will be closed. Does that make sense? Cool. Gerard says, I decided to sign up because I want to be my own boss. Like, I'm sick of, he didn't say this, I'm elaborating. I'm sick of having other people tell me what to do. I'm trying to be my own boss. I feel it. I feel like literally, let me tell you guys why I decided to be an entrepreneur, because it actually it wasn't as deliberate and clear as you might think. I decided that I was going to launch my first business. At the time, I was like, I don't even know if it's going to be a business. I actually really just want to have the experience of making something of my own and putting it out in the world. That's what I was thinking about at the time. And what was happening at the time was I was working a job at Microsoft. And my boss was driving me absolutely bonkers. Anyone have a boss who drives them bonkers? Anyone else know? Let me know in the chat if you know about this. He was driving me nuts. And he was so interested in doing politics and bureaucracy. And I was like, can I just do my job? I'm not trying to do all of this extra politics stuff right now. I'm not here for that. And so what I really needed at the time was a creative outlet. It was I felt like I'm the type of person who likes to have impact and to do big things. And I felt like I wasn't really able to do that. There was a limit to how much I could do that at work. Right. And so the reason that I signed up was I needed this outlet. I don't think I wouldn't have said it this way at the time. But I needed a different kind of outlet. I wanted to build a new skill set of being able to make things, right? And making my own app and putting it out into the world for people to use, that sounded really fulfilling to me. So that was really why I first branched out into entrepreneurship. Really, in my mind, it wasn't even going to be a business when I started. In my mind, I was I'm going to start a side project. That's what I was saying when I started. I'm going to do a side project. Something on the side of work to just sort of give me something cool that I could put out there in the world. Now, it turned into a business. It turned out that people were paying me for that side project that I made. And I was like, wait a minute. And then it turned out that I was getting investors for the side project. And I was like, wait a minute, this is not a side project. This is a whole business. So that's really what happened. It sort of was accidental in a way. Right? Sherilyn says, I think all bosses have do that same thing. Yeah, I was just oh, y'all are killing me right now. Killing me at work. I got to get out. Y'all are messing with my mental health. Okay. All right, let's see here. George is signed up. Halisha is signed up. Kiana is signed up. I see y'all. And Halisha, George, Kiana are paid in full. Inez, am I saying your name right? Is paid in full as well. I see you. Okay. Chris says, thank you so much. Yes, you're so welcome. I want to answer a couple more questions and then we'll wrap up in a minute. You guys are so welcome. I want to pour out what I've learned along the journey. And I want you to I'm sure you guys took notes. In fact, I would love if you could post, if y'all took notes, and you're on Instagram, I want you to take a photo of your notes and I want you to post it on Instagram and tag me. My Instagram, you either can do, I'm Tara Reed, REED. I'll put it into the chat. Tara Reed _ or at Apps Without Code. You can do both. Take a picture of your notes and let me see the notes that you took. Post tag me on Instagram so I can see and be like, I see you working on your focus and your plan. I'd like to give you a shout out. But yeah, follow me on Instagram on either of those handles. And if you took notes, take a photo of them and post them on your story or on your post and tag me so I could see your notes, see that you were focused. I love it. Sandra says, how did you get investors? Ooh, great question. Okay. I have a bonus class for you on this in boot camp, but I want to talk you through just the high level right now. My preferred way for getting investors is doing a program. There are two ways you can get investors. One, you can just get an individual investor to invest in you. Or the other way is that there's programs, they have accelerators, right? There's one called Techstars. There's one called Y Combinator. There's one called 500 Startups. That's the one I did. So I like doing programs because here's the thing. Investors are not required to invest in anybody, right? They could say actually, we're not going to make any investments this month. But a program, for a fact, there's clear communication. You know that the applications due this day, that their interviews are this day, that they make decisions this way. I like the transparency of knowing that people are going to respond to me, what the next steps are. Like when you do a program, you get more of that. So I really like getting investors through programs where part of the, when you get accepted, you get the investment. That's my favorite way to do it, Sandra. Okay. Teresa says, the profits that I earn from building an app, will it be considered earned income? Yes. However, for any business, there's all sorts of ways to offset your income expenses so that you don't, like, let's say that you have a really profitable app. You can do a couple different things, which I'm happy to talk to you about one-on-one. If you want that to be your earned income, you can, or to make it not be your earned income. And that's the nice thing that's different about this is why, okay, y'all got me on another quick rant here. Wealthy people have the ability to move things around in a legal way to make their tax burdens less. This is something that you cannot do. It's not possible to do if you don't own your own business. You get extra perks in your ability to move things around in a legal way to pay different amounts of taxes when you own a business. So once you have a business, you are able to do some other things that give you more flexibility. Bobby says, is the app downloadable for your iPhone? Yeah, so you can make it available on the computer or on the phone, on Android or on iPhone. You can choose, or both. Rosalind is signed up. Almaz is signed up. Inez, I see you. Paid in full, Almaz and Inez. I see you. Awesome. Okay, let me see. Any last questions before we go? Any last questions? Oh, Louise says, the reason I signed up. Yeah, if you just signed up, tell me why you signed up. Louise says, I signed up because I want to create wealth and help poor people in Africa. I'm assuming that your app idea is around that. Heck yeah. Great. Good for you. I love that. Okay. Let's see here. Other questions. Jocelyn says, I'm checking in. I'm late. I just got here. Yeah, we're about to wrap up. However, Jocelyn, tomorrow I'll send you the recording if you missed this. Okay. Keisha says, how much time do you invest in the app or maintain it once you have your client and your contract, once everything is set up? Like, you could do almost none, but like, I'll be conservative and say like an hour a week checking in on things, making sure everything's okay. Now you can do more than that, right? Because if you want to come up with new ideas and new features and all that, you could do more. But if you've got it in a place where you like it, you don't have to do much. Right. Cool. Okay. The discount code. Anita wants the discount code. It's on the screen. So it's FAST10 is the code. FAST10. Right. You got it? Bobby says, I just signed up. Oh, look in your email, Bobby. I sent you an email with your login information and the link to get back in. Bobby says, I signed up for freedom. Yeah, literally, that is why we're here. All right, that's right. Yeah, I feel you, Don. Cool. Jen says, can you sell your app? How does it work? Okay. Yes, you can sell your app. There are websites like a good one is called flippa.com where you can sell your app. However, I do not recommend that you straight up sell the app. The more lucrative thing for you to do, is for you to rent out your app, essentially to lease it, to license it. Because then you still own it, but you've got a bunch of people paying you, not just one, right? Not just like, oh, I got paid one time. So that is my recommendation for what you do. But you can just straight up sell it. So you can straight up sell it. You give out all the rights, all of the ownership, if you don't want to run it anymore at all. But I recommend that you license it instead so that you can have 1,000 people who would like to have that app, who wanted to buy it from you, but they're just renting it. And that's a lot better of a model, more lucrative. Cool. Victoria had a question about the payment plan. Yes. Okay. All right. This is a great question. Okay. So if you need to break up the payment, because you have like a limit on a card or something. So I'll give you two scenarios. Scenario number one is where you just want to do the payment plan. You want to pay monthly. You can pay monthly, and you just sign up for the payment plan. But Victoria, I think you're saying something different, which is I just want to reserve my seat. And then tomorrow I'm going to like call my bank and pay the remainder. So if you do that, you sign up for the payment plan. Tomorrow you pay the remainder. You will still get the discount and the bonuses. You'll still receive it. Right? If you pay the remainder immediately. I understand that some of you guys have like a limit on there. So I'll send me an email tomorrow, or actually as soon as you sign up for the payment plan, send me an email now and be like, hey, Tara, we talked about this. I'd like to pay the remainder. Can you send me the link? Because tomorrow I'm going to pay the remainder, and we can do that and work through that. And I'll still give you the discount for that if you do that. Make sense? Cool. Did y'all learn something? Did y'all learn something this evening? I hope you learned something. I hope that you're excited about your next steps, your plan, doing that thing in entrepreneurship that scares you, because you just got to do it scared. Like literally, that is how entrepreneurship works. You just got to do it scared. That's how it works. Mark Zuckerberg did it scared, right? They all did it scared, not knowing if it was going to work, but like, let's see if we get it to work. That's what it takes. Right. All right. Let's wrap up here. Two last things before we go. I see Ebony just got signed up, paid in full. I see you, Ebony. Laura, I see you. Guy Anthony, I see you. Awesome. So quick last things. If you took notes, let me see what you posted on the gram. Let me see you and tag me in there so I can see your notes. Tomorrow, I'm going to send you a recording. So if you need to watch this back, I'm going to send you the recording. The deadline for the discount is tonight at midnight is the deadline. If you need more time than that, you can get signed up all the way up until Sunday. Sunday is the deadline, right, to get in. But you won't get the discount tomorrow or the day after, Saturday, Sunday, but the 10% discount is for this evening. Right. Midnight is your deadline. Midnight Pacific time, to be clear. Since some of y'all are gonna cut it right to the end. I know y'all cut it right to the end at midnight. It'd be like at 11:58 getting in there. All right. Beverly, I see you guys signed up. I see you, Beverly. Uh-oh. Can you hear me? I just lost it for a second. All right. So we're going to wrap up. Last announcement. If you have a question and you need something clarified, the best way to ask your question is to send me an email. How do you send me an email? All you have to do to send me an email is just go look at the last email I sent you and hit reply. That's it. Just hit reply to the last email that I sent you, and I'll get back to you probably tomorrow. So if you need your 10% discount, get in now. If you have other questions, I probably will be able to get back to you tomorrow. Realistically, I'm going to answer some emails tonight, but then I'm going to answer the rest of them tomorrow. Cool? All right. I'll see y'all on Instagram. I will see you at the rest of the Freedom Summit. I will see you guys at midnight tonight for those of you who are waiting until the last minute to get jumped in. And I've had a really great time sharing my knowledge with y'all. Okay. I will talk to you soon. Have a good one. Bye.